He said, Dylan's missing. And I said, what?
And the whole world fell apart right there. I hit the ground, started crying.
This family has literally been through it all with the disappearance of their son. Is this really just a matter of, I looked away for 1 second too long, or is something else at play here? It's time to turn on the searchlight. For Dylan Norman John Ehler. Welcome back to Brain Scratch Searchlight. I'm John Lorden. Thank you so much for caring about these cases like I do. Before we get into today's case, I want to let you know about a great charity event and how you can be a part of it. Private Investigations for the Missing has been the secret sauce, helping to move many missing persons cases forward. Founded by Bruce Maitland, father of missing person Brianna Maitland, this nonprofit organization provides professional investigative services to families of missing persons at no cost. Since 2018, they've been involved with over 80 missing persons cases, and now they're holding their first 5K Run for the Missing. It'll be held at Memorial Park in Reading, Massachusetts on October 8th, 2023. All funds raised will go directly to their mission of supporting families with missing loved ones. Support a great charity while you participate in this fun run at your own pace, and if you just can't be there in person, you can also run it virtually and still support this amazing organization. We have a link in the description box down below with all the details that you need. I'm also very proud to announce that LordanArts is a sponsor for this event. A big thank you to all of our Patreon and PayPal supporters for making that happen. Now let's get back to today's case, which takes us to our neighbors to the north, Nova Scotia, Canada. Ashley Brown and her partner, Jason Ehler, say that their 3-year-old son, Dylan, is a true country boy with the most outgoing personality they have ever seen. His enthusiasm for life is contagious. Dylan never gives up. They say he would just get back up on his feet and keep going no matter what he's trying to do. All that energy makes him pretty fast, and that can sometimes make it hard to keep up with him. Dylan's parents fondly remember how excited he was to receive his new bicycle on his birthday in April of 2020. His father, Jason, would say, "I remember that day so well. He was off that bike and then into another person's yard on their real motorbike. Just in like 4 seconds. He was that fast, nonstop. He was a very, very happy child." Dylan was always on an adventure, whether he was playing in the dirt with his toy trucks and trains or watching his favorite television show, Paw Patrol. He brought all of his energy and love for life to everything and everyone that he encountered. Each day ended with his insistence that his parents read to him before bed. The Cat in the Hat is his favorite book. Life for this couple wasn't always easy, though. With the pandemic, everything in their area was in lockdown, and because of it, both Ashley and Jason lost their jobs. Isolation during this time had a detrimental effect on a lot of people and relationships. Ashley and Jason were affected by this as well. Tempers were short, money more than tight. On one morning in May, an argument escalated into a fight that saw the couple actually be arrested. Ashley was charged with assault for striking Jason, and he was charged with mischief and uttering threats for breaking her cell phone and threatening her. A court date for their hearing was set later that summer, and both were given a no-contact order. Jason went to stay with his parents, who lived about 15 minutes away, while Ashley stayed in their home. They each relied on their mothers to ferry the children back and forth to them. This thankfully enabled Jason to see Dylan every day. On Wednesday, May 6th, 2020, Dylan was visiting his grandmother, Dorothy Parsons, at her home in Truro. Truro is known as the hub of Nova Scotia. An important highway interchange is located just north of Truro, where Highway 102 ends at Highway 104. They're both 4-lane expressways. There's also some nearby roads that form part of the Glooscap Trail, which is a scenic route that's used by many tourists. As of 2021, the population in Truro, just under 13,000 people. At 1:15 p.m. on that day, grandmother Dorothy, Dylan, and a family dog were outside playing. Dorothy turned to put the dog on its leash, and when she turned back, Dylan was simply gone. She immediately called for help, and people nearby began to search for Dylan. 5 minutes later, when no immediate signs could be found, she called the police. Within 4 minutes of that phone call, officers arrived on the scene, and they started searching the area. 2.5 hours later, the Truro Fire Department, Colchester Search and Rescue, and even a National Resources helicopter were out and looking. There was also a focus on one particular spot. At the back of Dylan's grandparents' house is a small body of water. Dave McNeil, chief of the Truro Police Service, described that body of water. Quote, "There is a quick-moving brook, Leper Brook, that runs parallel to Elizabeth Street. The water is very high there this time of year, and it's moving fairly quickly. Firefighters did go into the river, probably chest height, and they were searching the river. The banks are muddy and steep, even though the brook itself is only a few meters across. In May, they were also dealing with spring runoff, and that made the waters move a bit more, and it also made the waters very cold. Investigators feared that Dylan may have fallen into the brook, only to be carried out to Quebecois Bay via the Salmon River. Quebecois Bay is an inlet of the Bay of Fundy. The eastern end of the bend hosts the estuary of the Salmon River, whereas the west end of the bay is less well defined. Wire.com tells us that while most rivers flow in one direction, the Salmon is a tidal river, which means it runs in two directions. Every day, a tidal bore sends a wave that is 6 feet high rippling up the river straight into town, and then it flows back out again. The water, a mix of silt and clay, is a ruddy chocolate brown. Searchers said that this area is not easy to cover, and with the cold waters, it made finding Dylan quickly very important. By 4:30 p.m., no signs of the boy had been found. Local law enforcement issued a localized alert. The alert didn't go out to cell phones, but it was put out to social media and governmental websites because Dylan's disappearance didn't fit the criteria of an Amber Alert. Then, a troubling discovery. At 7:20 p.m., a search and rescue team found one of Dylan's rubber boots. It was submerged in Leper Brook, about 500 feet from Dorothy's house, caught in a shopping cart. Then, at 9 p.m., his other boot was found further down the brook, around a turn where it starts to enter into the Salmon River. No other signs of Dylan were found. While search and rescue continued to work diligently throughout the night, residents checked trash cans, sheds, any place that they thought a 3-year-old might hide, but they turned up no new leads. Police Chief McNeil asked that be the extent of their efforts. Quote, "When people are untrained and they try to help search, oftentimes they miss clues, maybe trample over evidence, or maybe become a risk of falling into the ridge of water themselves. So we're just asking people to show support, prayers, and thoughts for the family, and not to get involved with actually physically coming on site to search." The next morning, ground searchers, a canine unit, divers, and drones with thermal imaging and underwater capabilities lent their expertise. They concentrated on the areas where Dylan's boots were found. The teams consisted of at least 45 members, and they focused their efforts near the Salmon River. Everyone hoped and prayed for a quick resolution and Dylan's safe return. At a press conference, Mayor Mills stated that he too was holding out hope of a positive outcome. Quote, "I've heard stories about youngsters who were in similar situations who have somehow survived," he said. The next morning, tweets started to appear on Twitter in support of Dylan and his family. One post read, "Just gonna leave these out there for Dylan," and it featured a pair of rubber boots. The Yarmouth Fire Department took this a step further when they posted their picture and challenged other departments to do the same. From there, hundreds of first responders, fire departments, and members of the community followed, spreading the news about young missing Dylan. However, due to no additional clues being found during the search efforts, Truro police sent out a press release only 24 hours after Dylan was reported missing. It said, "Unfortunately, at this point, the extensive efforts put forth by searchers have not yielded any new clues or information. In consultation with the family, we are now moving from a search mode to a recovery mode. In the days and weeks that followed, efforts continued with more searches and the help of a mannequin. Made to approximate Dylan's size and weight, the doll was released wearing similar clothes in the area of Dylan's disappearance. Using radio transmitters in the mannequin and on the bank of the brook, a signal was captured that mapped the path of travel and gave them some new possible search areas. Unfortunately, water and weather conditions that day were different from the day that Dylan went missing, which obviously skewed the results. The Truro police released a statement saying, "This trial was not meant to be an exact science. However, it is believed that the exercise did produce some useful information that the team will be evaluating." The announcement was sad and discouraging, but also began to spring new avenues of thought for the family. They began to wonder, did Dylan actually fall into the brook, or was his disappearance more sinister? In an interview with local press, his father, Jason, described their suspicions. Quote, "The boots don't make sense. The boots have never made sense. There were 2 boots that were near the water, and they were found 6 or 7 hours after he disappeared. People covered that ground as soon as Dylan's grandmother screamed for help. As soon as the grandmother called for help, there was a guy instantly at that brook, and there was nothing. No boots, no boy, no nothing." They fear that if Dylan was abducted, the perpetrator could have thrown his boots off of a small railway bridge that crosses Leper Brook, close to where it meets Salmon River, in an effort to throw off the searchers. If that is the case, valuable time was lost during those first hours. To test their theory, a GoFundMe was started that raised reward money. With legal advice and the help of Truro police, Jason and Ashley decided to offer $10,000 for Dylan's safe and live return, or $1,000 to anyone who leads them to him. An expiration date of July 15th, 2020 was set. It expires because we want immediate results. We don't want somebody to have the opportunity to take their time. We want a sense of urgency with the reward, the family stated. Unfortunately, their bid didn't work, and the reward was not collected. It is still available. Today it sits at $20,000. Search efforts continued despite the family's fears until May 12th, when the active search was called off. Since then, the family and community have rallied together to continue to look for Dylan. Since his disappearance, life for Jason and Ashley has been very tough. With no results in the police's search and investigation, the rumor mill began to turn. Soon, online groups started to target the family with seemingly unfounded accusations. The rumors and threats didn't stay online and could soon be heard in the nearby community. The family has suffered ransom demands and threats of all kinds. Jason commented about a few of these, saying, "One guy sent a picture of Dylan, but it was all photoshopped and looked like he had bruises on his face and stuff. And he wanted 3 Bitcoin. Another one said he had Dylan in the truck and he'd toss him out the window doing 100 kilometers if I didn't send him a couple of $1,000s. In response, Dylan's family filed a lawsuit in February of 2021 under Nova Scotia's Intimate Images and Cyber Protection Act against the Facebook groups that were key in spreading the accusations and rumors. In August of 2021, a settlement was reached when it was agreed that the site administrators would be prohibited from reopening a Facebook group on the matter, posting about the case, or communicating with Dylan's parents. Jason said he would like an apology from the group, but the damage is already done. How do you take that back? How do you take Ashley waking up every morning crying? How do they take back us being nervous to go to the store because everybody looks at us like we could be murderers, or we can be this, or we could be that? How do you take back the impact they put on my son's searches? What's done is done, Jason said. Dylan's parents also have demanded changes to the Amber Alert system, as they feel a more urgent and official alert than the one that was sent out could have greatly helped this investigation. There is a change.org petition that you can find. It's titled Justice for Dylan Ehler. According to missingpeople.ca, the parents also asked that the Truro Police Service and their investigation be reviewed. because they believe that the service didn't adequately investigate their son's disappearance, claiming that the police failed to realistically pursue and investigate the prospect of criminality. Even as the family had come to consider other scenarios, trying to justify the mysteriously reappearing boots, the Truro Police Service always held the position that there was just no foul play involved. Jason would say, "I believe he was kidnapped, but it's hard to say what really happened because all they have are the boots." In August of 2023, it was decided that the complaints were to be dismissed, as the board believed that the service arrived as quickly as possible and that all procedures and policies were followed. Jason and Ashley were devastated. "I felt like I was slapped across the face," Jason said to CTV. He says that the police service is not updating them as they should, which makes them feel like they're out of the loop. They're looking at their case now to see if the decision can be appealed. As a matter of fact, one of the more recent YouTube videos on Jason's page is him asking for some form of professional/legal help in trying to get that appeal going forward. And just to be sure that we're being transparent here, look, Jason and Ashley are not perfect people. Jason has other types of charges in his past and even in his present, but they're not charges that would have any bearing on Dylan's disappearance. Even the domestic dispute-related charges that we did mention in this episode were discounted by Truro Police Chief Dave McNeil. He said, quote, "This has no bearing on our investigation into Dylan's disappearance at this point. From our perspective, the two are not connected. Totally irrelevant." To this day, Dylan's family searches for Dylan as much as possible. You'll also see that if you visit his father's YouTube page. He's out there regularly looking for any signs of his son. They also hold rallies where Ashley and Jason, along with their supporters, picket the Truro Police Department. It's very clear that Jason and Ashley are stuck in a cycle of grief and that there's no immediate end for them in sight. At the time of his disappearance, Dylan Ehler stood at about 3 feet tall and he weighed around 32 pounds. His left eye is hazel and his right eye is vertically half hazel and half blue. His hair is brown, and he was last seen wearing a dark green jacket with brown fur around the hood, camouflage pants, and bluish rubber boots. Please share this video with friends and acquaintances in Nova Scotia, Canada to help us raise awareness. And if you have any information about the disappearance of Dylan Ehler, please contact the Truro Police at 902-895-5351. Since 2015, we've always run limited commercial ads for the benefit of the viewers and the families that we're trying to help. Obviously, we can't do that without support. A big thank you to PayPal supporters Jennifer Wilson and Larissa Mertschink. If you'd like to help, please visit LordanArts.com. There you can sign up for Patreon, sign up for PayPal, buy merchandise, or even just buy us a coffee like Roxanne Brown recently did. We really appreciate your support on our mission to run as few ads as possible and help as many cases as we can. Thank you, globalnews.ca, saltwire.com, atlantic.ctvnews.ca, The Star, CBC, Wikipedia, CTV News, missingpeople.ca, and wired.com. Also, a thank you to all the professional searchers, law enforcement, and the community that are working to bring Dylan home to his family. Let's keep those eyes, ears, and hearts open and looking for Dylan Ehler. I'll see you again here very soon on the LordanArts channel.